Most horror movies rely on shadows and darkness to scare you. The Shining is famously bright. Yet from the moment you step inside the Overlook Hotel, there's a gnawing, low-level anxiety that something is deeply wrong. Years ago, video game modders tried to recreate the Overlook inside the Duke Nukem engine. They painstakingly mapped every hallway, every door, and every room shown on screen. And they failed completely. This architectural floor plan illustrates exactly why. When you attempt to connect the spaces shown in the film, the layout breaks. Corridors lead into empty space, doors open into solid brick, and entire suites overlap one another. Director Stanley Kubrick deliberately weaponized the architecture. He built a set with logically broken geometry to slowly and methodically disorient you. The fracturing of the physical space runs parallel to Jack Torrance's mental collapse. The building operates as an active, malevolent entity, dismantling reality piece by piece. Let's look at a specific spatial paradox. Early in the film, Jack walks down a long interior hallway for his job interview in manager Stuart Ullman's office. This wireframe maps Ullman's office. His window shows daylight, but that wall sits entirely in the building's center. Similarly, tracking Danny's tricycle route, passing elevators and taking consecutive right turns, reveals his final destination is physically impossible, floating in mid-air above the lounge. These anomalies are planted everywhere. Outside the infamous room 237, doors line a wall that leads absolutely nowhere due to the room's massive size. Entire pieces of furniture, like chairs and tables, vanish between cuts in the background. You might not consciously spot a missing chair or an impossible window, but your subconscious registers the violation of physical laws. You feel a constant dread because the foundation you're standing on cannot be trusted. The physical layout is only the first layer of the trap. The Overlook operates on a strict set of visual rules involving duality and reflections. Whenever a supernatural entity speaks to a character on screen, there is a literal mirror present in the room. The mirrors act as gateways, revealing the true, hidden nature of the hotel. Kubrick reinforces this by shooting heavily symmetrical frames, creating images that mimic perfect reflections. It's why Danny's psychic warning, murder, is only readable when folded backward in a mirror as redrum. By constantly presenting us with doubles, like the Grady twins, and mirrored visuals, the film forces us to question which side of reality they are observing. Once you realize the physical space is broken, you start to notice that the Overlook script on linear time is equally fractured. Take the story of the previous caretaker. Jack is told about a man named Charles Grady who had daughters aged 8 and 10. Later, Jack meets a ghost calling himself Delbert Grady, and the murdered girls we see are clearly identical twins, not sisters born years apart. This paradox feeds directly into Jack's extreme sense of déjà vu. He claims he felt he had been to the hotel before he even arrived, while the ghost of Delbert Grady explicitly tells Jack, "You have always been the caretaker." The entities in the hotel exploit Jack's vulnerability, his months of white-knuckling sobriety, using him as a blunt instrument. Their real target is Danny, aiming to consume his immense psychic power. By shattering the constraints of linear time, the Overlook ensures its victims can never leave, binding them to a history that simply repeats itself. All of these impossibilities, the broken geometry, the repeating time, the mirrors, point to a much larger allegory. The Overlook is a symbol for the suffocating weight of America's buried history. We are explicitly told that the site was constructed on an Indian burial ground, and the hotel is decorated with authentic Navajo motifs. Subliminal details, like the Native American figure on the pantry supplies, keep this history strictly in frame. This context reframes the iconic shot of blood pouring from the elevator. It operates as a visual metaphor for the corpses buried beneath the foundation, violently pushing their way to the surface. The subconscious habit of the brain to ignore the hotel's spatial contradictions is mirrored in the building's name. This mental training, learning to overlook the impossible geography inside, leads directly to the larger, deliberate act of overlooking the genocide the hotel was built upon. The final proof of this inescapable loop is the film's closing shot. We slowly track into a July 4th photograph taken in 1921, only to find Jack smiling front and center. This photograph marks the hotel's ultimate victory. Jack Torrance has been absorbed into a permanent, repeating record of violence, leaving the audience as trapped in Kubrick's maze as he is.